What's up, guys? This is Stevan. I'm back today with an awesome video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to make the transition properly and successfully from a high school wrestler to go on to wrestle at the college level. Okay, but before we get into it, guys, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and turn your notification bell on. Okay, so I know I've talked about it in a previous video on like how to properly get recruited and how to look into wrestling at the next level to try to wrestle as a D1 wrestler. But today I'm just talking about a high school wrestler who does really well and wants to continue their career and goes and actually steps foot on campus at college and is trying to wrestle, and what the things they need to do to become successful. You know, not only are things going to be much harder with the level of wrestling, you're the state champion or you're a state placer, well, so are all the guys that you're going to school with, or so are the guys that you're going to be competing against. So that the talent pool goes up. Not only that, it's your first time away from home. This is your first time being an independent individual and not actually having to rely on your parents, rely on the system of being in a hometown. You might be far away from friends and family, and you have to be able to adjust with class loads in school, hard practices that you probably never had before in your life, distractions of parties and just different things to be able to do with your time. And overall, it can be really difficult to make that adjustment properly. And you see a lot of top guys go into college and not survive and not make it, or they go into college and maybe they do make it through, but they didn't reach the success that they should have from high school that you could see reaching their peak. So I'm going to give you guys 5 things that I think are important on how to do that. So first and foremost is the commitment level that you need to having that disciplined lifestyle. Finding yourself in a situation where you're going to be at a crossroads, you're going to have all this freedom and do all these new things, but you have to be pretty disciplined and you have to be able to make a decision to be committed to the craft of wrestling and be committed to making it and wanting to get better. So without that, I mean, it's going to be really difficult. It's difficult to make that jump because there's a whole another level of that outside of high school, because the amount of talent that now moves on, it just, it's like a pyramid. Just less and less people are able to do that. So I think that being committed and being fully bought into this to go in as a wrestler is the most important part. You can go as a student, you can go in all these other things. Being an athlete on the team is cool, but like actually trying to break the lineup, be a starting member on the team, being someone who goes out there and qualifies for the nationals or becomes an All-American or becomes a national champion. Those are goals you need to set right from the start. Number 2 is making the decision to get better every day in the room, okay? This builds off the first point, and I think being able to try and go into the wrestling room and focus on something that you can work on, whether that be technique that you realize, because you're going to go in there and you're going to have a rude awakening to wrestling some of these college guys. These guys are mature. You're 18 years old and you're going into college as you're still growing in your body, and you're wrestling some guys who are 21, 22, 23, even older. Like I was 24, 25 when I graduated from Michigan as taking the amount of red shirts I did. So there's guys that are older, that are mature, and you have to adjust and you have to make the decision to get better every day. Okay, this is a sink or swim environment, and if you aren't able to make those adjustments, you're gonna sink. You have to be able to adjust and make that mindset up that you're gonna tough through it, and you're gonna, I don't want to just say tough through because it sounds like very brute, but you have to endure that. There's gonna be a level of suffering that goes to that, and it goes to my next point is having an answer. You have to make that decision that you're not gonna, you're gonna make adjustments no matter how difficult it is, because you're gonna go in there. There's gonna be guys that are better than you, and you might take a beating in the beginning. And I always noticed in that first few months of practice, probably from September until November, as a freshman, that's the peak time of when somebody actually makes the gains they need to make, or if their mindset shifts to being like, hey, I'm either gonna keep taking these beatings, I'm gonna stick it out and wrestle, but I'm just gonna be the backup. I'm just gonna be the guy on the team. I'm not really cut out for this. Deep down in their mind, they're thinking. Or they're gonna say, enough of that bullshit. I'm gonna toughen up here. I'm going to go toe-to-toe with you, and I'm going to try to beat you. Every day I'm going to come in the room, and I'm going to try to score 1 more point than I did last time. I'm going to try to get off the bottom. I'm not going to get held down this period against wrestling these guys who are college starters or your new teammates that you're wrestling that are pushing you every day. You have to seek those tough practices out, and you actually have to, face it toe-to-toe and meet pressure, because pressure makes diamonds, baby. So remember that. That's most important. And usually it's that time, because that's the breaking period. After about a month, 2 months, 3 months in, you'll notice the guys start to weed themselves out from, hey, is this guy going to make it, or is this guy actually like the real deal, and this guy's like going to be a leader, this guy's going to be someone who's a starter on the team. That's really what I think you need to set for yourself. And hey, it's okay. It's not everyone's going to do it right away, but going into college, having that mindset that, listen, you have to push yourself these next few months. It's new. There's so many different things going on, but you can do it. Number 4, sacrifice. A lot of these might sound similar. My dad always told me, like, successful people are always willing to do things that unsuccessful people aren't. And I know that might sound silly, but I think just the mindset of knowing that just because there's a lot of people around you that might not want to do those things, they might not see the success that you want to see. You know, this ranks at different levels because your success might be, hey, I'm trying to crack the lineup, or this other person's success might be, hey, I'm trying to become a national champion in college. So I think, you know, having to make the decision of not just being disciplined, but taking it up a notch by sacrificing other things, like, hey, I might have to stay in for after practice, and this might take away some time from my free time that I would usually be having, because I have to go right from here to go and study hall afterwards because I have a test. So you might have to take away from that. The more comfortable you are in repeating this process, the better you're going to be making that kind of the new norm. If you can sacrifice the little thing, going into practice to stretch before, or going in early in the mornings to focus on drilling your technique, doing things extra that just going to college practices alone aren't the answer. Just because those practices are really, really difficult, that doesn't mean that's making you better. It might take you extra work. It's going to have to take an extra work. It's just like extracurricular, being able to go in, after class, like a tutor, right? You have to have that, and college demands this, okay? The college practices sometimes aren't enough. Just like in high school practices aren't just enough. Just because you're surrounded with guys like you, that should be the minimum. And you have to be able to take it through to the next level. And last but not least, not putting too much pressure on yourself with all this. Maybe sounds intimidating, this can't sound tough, but I think knowing that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and going through the process, knowing like you might not see instant gratification right away, and it's going to take building blocks, but that's the point with college. People redshirt for a reason a lot of times, and maybe redshirting is the right decision for you to grow in. For me, I was always super immature for my age. I was a late bloomer. I grew late, and honestly, like even having that redshirt and then Olympic redshirt, I even felt, at 20 years old going into my freshman year of college, redshirting twice at Michigan beforehand, I needed it, and I still felt immature compared to some guys that I was wrestling at the college level at 133 that year. So, I mean, it even took me that extra year to where I felt ready. It isn't going to come overnight, and you're going to take your lumps, but you have to push yourself, and it's sink or swim, and you have to be able to adapt quickly. With that being said, though, listen, build brick by brick. Rome wasn't built in a day. You can do it. So those are my 5 points for you guys. You take it or leave it, but I think these are crucial things. I don't think a lot of people talk about it much because they think going to college, it's this whole new ballpark, and as soon as you go over there, it's like you're taken care of and all hands off. No, it's honestly hands on. You have to be taking care of yourself and making sure you can really dial in to get the best out of yourself and to find that success you need in college, because it takes more work. It takes a lot more work than you saw in high school. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. World champs and everything we do, baby. Let's go.